think about that? Whoa, okay. Not a fan of that, okay. Hello, we're back. After all of the chaos, I came home and I was like, thank God we're home. And I'm not gonna bitch about this too much, but my backpack is ripped, like really bad, which makes me very sad. And as you know, I'm not really good at mending these things, but I'm gonna try to mend these things because this makes me very sad. I rely on this backpack a lot for all of our travels. Basically, I travel with this backpack for all of my needs, and
Osprey has a great warranty. If you don't want to fix it, they will.
they'll fix it?
Yeah, Osprey is like lifetime forever warranty. That's what they're known for.
Okay, well, my backpack is really dirty. You probably can't see it, but it's been a flight. It's really been a flight. It's a rough looking backpack now. I'm going to try to fix it because shipping these things back and forth just may not be worth it. But if anybody wants to give me any tips on how to mend this so that it doesn't tear again, I was just gonna sew it. Should I put another piece of fabric underneath it before I sew it? Fred is on the bookshelf. Do you see him? Over there? I don't know what a ladder stitch is, guys. I'm just a really noob sewer. I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to say hi to y'all. So hi. And to let you know that we're back home. Safe and sound. Although maybe not mentally. I stole some soap from our fancy hotels. They smell really nice. They smell really good, actually. Apparently it's made in Italy. And my hair clip is now very not functional because all the clips have broken off of it, so I'll probably have to toss that. Sorry, Mom, she gave that one to me. Freddie! People want to see you. Will you come? Will you let me pet you? Oh, yes you will. Do you want a treat? Hey. Yeah. Thank you so much for being cute. Yeah? Go in one side, pulling the needle down, bring it over to the other side, and tie a knot as often as you see fit. Where are you going? Where are you going, my boy? You're being so cute, and you're not letting the people see you. And as soon as I move the camera, you move away. Yeah, I enjoyed the croissant, but unfortunately it was not really that good anymore. So never wait to eat a croissant, folks. You gotta eat it. I just could not eat anything anymore that day, so. LA versus New York City, they're both good. I mean, how can I choose, y'all? The thing about LA versus New York is that LA is so sprawled. You get to one place and you eat that one thing that you want, and you might get to see a couple of other things, but for the most part, it's extremely tiresome for someone like me who's not used to driving around for things. It's a needle, Freddie. Be careful. Be careful, Freddie. Hi, boy. You're being so sweet. You sure you don't want the people to see you being this sweet? Oh my God. Let me stick that needle back in. Hi, buddy. Prices in LA were actually, I think, lower than what I'm used to seeing in New York for food, as far as food goes. That needle is too fine to fix the backpack. Damn. Hi, Freddie. Are you hiding? too, babe. I love you too. Yeah, I know. I know. And I'm sorry, but we're gonna leave you again next month. But we'll make sure you're getting taken care of, okay? Looks like Diana did a wonderful job with you. You look a little trim. Did she not give you that many snacks? You look beautiful. What a handsome boy. I do have a thick thread. This is a pretty thick thread. Freddie, it's a needle. You don't want to eat this, okay? On our way back home from the subway, walking to our apartment, we got some momos from Momo Crave again. And when I was waiting for the momos, a viewer spotted me because I was filming Erin getting the momos. Excuse me, Fred, I have to get the scissors. And she went next door to a bakery, I guess, to get something for herself, and then she came out and gifted me a ube cookie, which unfortunately I've already devoured because I am just a greedy little bitch, but it was delicious. I filmed a little bit of it, and hopefully I'll have that vlog for you guys sometime before the millennium ends. But we did get a whole lot of footage in LA, and I don't know when I can get all of that up. Yeah, this might be hard. Because this fabric is mesh, it might be hard for the thread to stay. This might be hard. We'll see if this stays. No. Okay. This is not going to work, folks. I think I have to check the Osprey warranty. But it's going to be a little tough because we're traveling again next month in less than a month. So I don't know if it's going to make it back to me on time. Which means I might just have to deal with this for the Egypt trip. But I do want to kind of mend it before I go on the trip again, because I don't want it to get worse, you know? Patches, huh? Yeah. I think so too. I think so too. I'm kind of tired, y'all. I mean, this pocket is really useful. It's where I put my water bottle. This is where I put my, Aaron!
Yes, James?
When you call United to complain about our fucking disaster of a return, can you tell them that they also ruined my backpack?
Yeah, you checked it, that's right. It wasn't like that before you gave it to them?
Absolutely not. It was fine last night, too. It was fine the first time it got returned to us on the carousel. It's during the trip. Y'all, that return trip was redonkulous. I now am privy to join the club of people who have crazy flight stories. They kept us on that plane for over 6 hours before we finally deplaned for the very last time. We actually deplaned twice. So the amount of time that we were on the plane was just about as long as the original flight would have taken. We boarded around 1:30, 1:40 p.m. Because of weather conditions, we were delayed until 3 something, and then they were like, folks, we have weather conditions to the east. We were going to go on this route, which takes you over Las Vegas, but I think we have to divert to over Mexico, but we don't have enough fuel on the plane to go over Mexico, so we're gonna go back to our gate now to get fueled up. And then that took over an hour, and they finally got it fueled. And then after they got it fueled, they said there's over 20 planes now trying to leave LAX over the same path. And we don't know what's going on with air control, and we're trying our best to figure out how to relieve that jam. And then we were told that there was a mechanical issue. And so they had workers come to check out and do a maintenance thing. And then about an hour later, the captain was like, folks, I thank you so much for your patience. I'm gonna have an answer for you definitely very, very soon, I promise. And then we didn't hear anything from him for like 30 to 40 minutes. And then he was like, folks, unfortunately, it's not good news. I believe we're gonna have everyone deplaned. We will not be flying today. And then everybody was just like already exhausted at that point. It was like 8:30 p.m. when they made that announcement, and then they let us off the plane at like 9, and then everybody was scrambling to get their luggage that got kicked back on the carousel, and then arranged for hotel accommodations and or car service if they were LA natives. We got put up in a Sheraton hotel. It was, I mean, the rooms, not gonna lie, we entered the room and the room smelled like mold, but at that point we were just like, fuck it, we're gonna stay here. They gave us some food vouchers, we had dinner in the hotel, showered, went to sleep. We didn't pack enough underwear for that extra day. All of my bras stunk, so I just went braless for the whole day. You know, we were just praying for the best when we got to the airport, and thankfully everything flew on time today. So we made it home. It was a very long trip. Yeah, Annika, bras stink if you sweat and you wear it in 90+ degree weather like in LA. After a couple days they stink. And I didn't pack enough for that extra day, so it would have been fine if we had come back yesterday, but we didn't, so yeah. I packed extra socks though, so at least I saw that. Oh my gosh. You all slept on the floor? I hope you complained to your airline for that shit. But I mean, first world problems, guys. I obviously didn't get to do any of my work that I was slated to do today, so I'm gonna be making that up over the weekend. Hey, you playing with my hair clip? The one that's broken? Do you like it? Do you like, oh yeah, you like that hair clip. Okay, you can play that hair clip. It's broken now. Yes, it's yours. Go ahead. Yeah, I know, you love it. Okay. Be careful. Yeah. Yeah? It's good? Does it look like a buggy? This is a sweet potato that sprouted and we planted it. Do you want me to clamp this on you? You're such a weirdo. Hey, I can brush you with it. Do you like being brushed with it? It's like a little mini comb. Yeah, do you like that? Is that soothing? Pretty exhausted, but happy to be back. And we just, I need a while to like absorb and digest, literally and metaphorically. Luggage croissant was not good, but I ate it. I did not let it go to waste. What to do about this though? Woof.
maybe,
Should I use like yarn? Man, I wish I had like yarn that I could thread through this. That would be really fun. Maybe some embroidery needles would be nice, Fred. Can you get me some, Fred?
Hi, Freddie. Are you waiting for me? Are you waiting for me?
Yes, I'm a crazy cat lady for you, Freddie. Do you want to smell my buttons? Here's my button collection. Do you want to smell it, Fred? Do you want to smell my buttons? Oh, no interest. Interest? No interest. Guys, I don't know if anybody remembers, Central Park, many years ago, there was an art exhibit, an installation, orange gates made of this fabric. They gave out pieces of this fabric. And I was thinking that, yes, Holly, I do think mesh fabric might tear more if it's sewn, but maybe I could just patch it on underneath here. A piece of history. I think it fits. But you're right. I don't know if it will tear more easily. I don't. I will just do it and hope for the best. Is it Christo? I don't remember the art exhibit's name, but I remember going there and getting a piece of this fabric, and of course Aaron would have just thrown it out. Probably he did, or maybe I was the only one who took it, but... Need a bigger patch? Damn, I don't know. I don't have a bigger patch. Very underprepared, y'all. Super glue. I don't know about that either. You can probably do it if you know what you're doing. I just don't know what I'm doing, you know? So do I sew around the perimeter of the patch, or do I sew around the perimeter of the ripped area? Fraying edges need glue. Huh. So I super glue the edges first, and then I sew on, oh, both perimeters. Wow. Okay. And glue the edges after you sew it. Wow. Do you think if I sent this back, they would just rip out this entire pocket and sew in a new one? Is that how it would work? Or would they just give me a new backpack? Like, I don't want them to throw away the backpack. But I don't think they would. It would look kind of cool, huh? Give us some character. I don't have a hot glue gun. Girl, I'm not that crafty. So a lot of people are saying glue it first, but I don't think I have the glue necessary for this. That would be hard. That might give you another or patch it. Freddie, do you have soup? Why are you running? I think he's afraid of backpacks, honestly. Are you afraid of backpacks? Oh, you're afraid of backpacks. You're a silly bean. Do I have super glue in this trash bin? do, y'all. Once upon a time we had some. Aaron, I could have sworn we had super glue in here.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm probably just not seeing it because I'm bone tired. Anyway, it's gonna be a pretty boring live because I'm pretty much lifeless at this point. It's just gonna be me and Fred fucking up my backpack more. Were you guys asking for the hot glue gun so that I could hot glue this? Duct tape in place before you sew. Okay. I see. Cookie was great. Yeah, I do feel like maybe I should send it back, huh? There's like all sorts of gunk on here now too. Jesus Christ. Everybody took a beating on this trip, including my backpack. I don't know what material this is. It looks like a really strong material though. Yeah, I do want to send it back. I just want it for my Egypt trip too. That's true. I don't want. You guys are smart. Maybe I won't do anything. Yeah, this looks like nylon. I think you're right. I definitely don't think it's a cotton blend. It's very shiny.
Yeah. It's only about halfway.
Everybody's like, go sleep. No, I don't need a GoFundMe. I just don't want to buy a new backpack, you know, because then it's just gonna be trash. I want to make sure that this gets as much life out of it as possible. Yeah, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so if canvas will shred, tape it before. Okay. All right. I will. I'll tell Osprey the whole story. The whole story. This bag has been places. Yeah, we need to do so much laundry too. Gosh, don't remind me. This backpack went with us to Chengdu, Hong Kong, and where did we go in Vietnam? Hanoi. So it's been on a lot of walking places. But LA is the one that ripped it, so they might not take it if I alter it, right? So ask my mom to sew it. My mom might sew it better than me, but yeah, there is definitely a shoe repair guy. Refer Osprey to this live. That's so funny. Anyway, yeah. Well, Osprey, I do love your products, but United Airlines really fucked it up. I don't know how, but they did. They fucked it up. Anything else you guys want to know before I sign off for the day? Aaron was like, I cannot believe you're going live right now. But I also can't believe that he's playing video games right now. Why are neither one of us asleep is my question. Yeah, I saw Judith's. Rex, thank you guys for your advice. I think I will hold off on mending it myself because I am just absolutely filled with bad ideas. You want to smell thread and needles? Don't go to LA is right. No, LA was great, guys. It was very fun. Fred, why are you hiding, buddy? Why are you hiding? Hi, Freddy. Are you wheezing? Are you wheezing? You're a wheezy boy. Did you behave when Diana tried to give you Flovent? I hope you didn't bite her. Were you a good boy? Oh, Freddy boy. Yeah, I should probably eat some vitamin D. Because we weren't taking vitamin D because we were in sunny LA for the most part, but we didn't get much sun today. I didn't even put on sunblock today, honestly. Fred, why are you so scared of the backpack? Goodness gracious. Will you come back if I give you a treat? There he is. Do you see him on the bookshelf? Hiding? I can always bribe you. I can always bribe you. Yeah. Yeah. Come back here. Yo, chill out. Chill, dude. Chill. Chill. Hey. Ow. Don't use nails. Good. Thank you. No more, Fred. No more. Don't bite. No more. Can't you see no more?
Please be respectful to each other. Please playing casual video game here.
Freddy, I thought about you every day. I thought about you every single day. I just want to be here, letting you guys watch Fred with me. I brought both of my knee braces just in case a car hit me and I had to use them, and I didn't have to use them. It was great. Let's flip to a random page in this other Ellen Watts book, which is a collection of essays, and I will just read. Just as the skilled photographer often amazes us with his lighting and framing of the most unlikely subjects, so there are painters and writers in the West, as well as in modern Japan, who have mastered the authentically Zen art of controlling accidents. Controlling accidents. Yes, my mom is also a cat hater. She really doesn't like cats, but I believe she loves Fred now because she always comments on how handsome he is and how cute he is. Do you want to listen to Ellen Watts too, babe? He's a great one. The sensation of relationship simply wipes out those special anxieties of the intelligence which come about as a result of the exaggerated feeling of individual responsibility of choice and of working against time. This is the sensation which, however garbled and perverted, is the impulse underlying the great religious traditions of the world. The sensation of basic inseparability from the total universe, of the identity of one's own self with a great self beneath all that exists. Why then do we not feel relationship? Why is the mutual interdependence between ourselves and the external world not the most obvious and dominant fact of consciousness? Why do we not see that the world we try to control, our whole inner and outer natural environment, is precisely that which gives us the power to control anything? It is because we look at things separately instead of simultaneously. When we are busy trying to control or change our circumstances, we ignore and are unconscious of the dependence of our consciousness and energy upon the outer world. When, on the other hand, we are oppressed by circumstances and feel controlled by the outer world, we forget that our very own consciousness is bringing that world into being. For, as I said, the sun is light because there are eyes to see it, noises because there are ears to hear them, hard facts because there is soft skin to feel them. But this is an unfamiliar point of view, and at once we disclaim it, saying, "Oh, but I didn't make my consciousness, my eyes, my ears, and my sensitive skin. They were given to me by my father and mother, or perhaps by God." But should we not then make the same disclaimer when things are going well, and when the conscious intellect is busy pushing the universe around? If my consciousness is something which I do not fully control, something given to me by my parents, who or what is the I which has this consciousness? Who am I if not this consciousness which I have just disclaimed? Surely it is obvious that there is no sort of little man inside us who has or owns this consciousness on trust. This is a figment of speech taken too seriously. If, therefore, consciousness ceases to ignore itself and becomes fully self-conscious, it discovers two things. One, that it controls itself only very slightly and is thoroughly dependent on other things, like mother, father, external nature, biological processes, God, or what you will. And two, that there is no little man inside, no I who owns this consciousness. And if that is so, if I do not own my consciousness, and if there is even no me to own it, to receive it, or to put up with it, who on earth is there to be either the victim of fate or the master of nature? What is troubling us, said Wittgenstein, is the tendency to believe that the mind is like a little man within. There is no little man, there is only flesh, universe, everything. And dirty socks, really dirty socks, like yuck. We left on a Saturday and we have returned on a Friday, which means that we left the day we cleaned and we will be cleaning tomorrow again. Such is the cycle of life. There is always something to be cleaned, and what is an ending is also a beginning, and a beginning an ending. Isn't that right, Fred? How's your little licky legs? Do you like your little licky legs? Do you want to smell this fancy Italian soap? What do you think? Hates it. Do you hate it? Hates it. What do you think of Mr. Alan Watts? It's a 60s edition. Do you like it? Oh, he likes it more than the fancy Italian soap, but not too much. Okay? You want to smell it again? No, thank you. Okay, back to his leg. He's now licking his leg. Do you want to smell this, Fred? Orange Gate. Wow, no interest in the arts. Very uncultured swine. Fred, waited a few seconds when we came back in and then promptly started meowing, and he jumped up onto that second level of the bookshelf up there, and he continued to meow for like the next 20 minutes. And then he got very scared when we were hauling our backpacks around, ran away, hid under the bed when we came over with our backpacks. But otherwise, normal. He loved treats. He ate a little piece of my cookie. I couldn't find if ube is poisonous for cats, but sweet potato is fine. So he seemed really into a cookie, which was surprising because he normally doesn't like anything sweet. I just met someone on this trip who said their cat goes nuts for biscotti, or whatchamacallit, Biscoff cookies, which we have from the airplane. I asked Aaron to save his Biscoff cookies, so we will try it. Yes, I tried the slow blinking move. He came over and he was smelling the cookie, and all of a sudden his little mouth is like trying to nab the cookie from me. I'm like, bitch, get off of my cookie. My viewer gave me this cookie. But I did give him a little bite. Not enough to kill him, just in case there was anything in there to kill him. But he seems fine. Taro, if you didn't know, is poisonous for cats and dogs. And I had a taro pastry and I did not give him any because I asked Aaron, is taro okay? And he said, no, it is extremely toxic. And so Fred, despite really wanting the taro pastry, I did not let him have any because he would have died. Little beans. You little beans. Yeah, so if you ever cook taro, do not feed it to your pets. There is some sort of compound in there that is toxic to them. Yes, Diane. Jackson Heights, we pass it very often because we live in Woodside, so it is very, very close to us. And it also has a lot of good food joints, so we were there. Oh, you guys crack me up sometimes. How many of you would proudly label yourselves as communist on this stream? Just curious. I feel like a lot of people would agree with communist ideals, but once they are asked to label themselves as communist idealists, they're like, oh no, I'm not a commie. But I feel like the tide is turning. I feel like as often as Fred is licking his butthole, there are more people who are more okay with the ideals of communism. Ube and taro are not the same. No. Socialist. Okay. Socialist anarchist. That is pretty in line with what Aaron identifies as. Aaron, what is that specific form of anarchism that you identify with?
I'm just a leftist. I don't. It's just.
Oh, well. Okay, well, he backed away from that label. Never mind. He's just a leftist now. Boring.
I mainly say that as a joke. The
Flushing has a lot of good food.
leftists get their shit. Meanwhile, like, people on the right are all unified.
Well, communism doesn't work because people don't work, and socialism probably won't work because people don't work. It's the same reason why nothing works, but, I mean...
Well, you could say the same thing about capitalism. It doesn't work because people are inherently this or that.
Yes, capitalism should work.
So what works?
Nothing works because we're fucking doomed. Duh. Guys, can I just say I am so happy to be in the land of drinkable tap water that doesn't taste like toilet. Hashtag blessed. Yeah, I don't really need to hate on capitalism as much as I just need to hate on people. Capitalism obviously isn't great. I mean, slavery was probably worse. So I guess we did improve. Oh, okay. Wow. I don't know if you guys hear that, but that is with my kitchen window completely shut closed. Oh my gosh, just look at Fred grooming though. I'm on the 3rd floor. I was in one of those hotels in LA, and they always have that TV on with like, well, one of the hotels had Fox News on, and I was like, are you kidding me? And then another hotel had the Centrist CNBC on the whole time, and they were all talking about economic shit that I didn't give a fuck about, but I thought it was hilarious because apparently Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are now in a tug-of-war of he said that and he said this, and they're fighting over space and regulations, and I'm just like, y'all have all this money and nothing better to do than yell at each other. Cool. It's like we never got out of elementary school. And that was the point at which I realized, like, no matter how much we try to make this world more equitable, it will always be like kindergarten. Everything that happened in kindergarten continues to happen, but now we just have bigger toys to play with and harder punches to hurt other people with. It just really sucks. It really sucks to see that we don't actually evolve. We just change the scale of manipulation. But that's us. That's humans. Lame, Fred. My species is so lame. How do you put up with me? Barely. You barely put up with me. Yeah. He was like, halt. Do not. Hello, Debbie. We noted that our society tolerates the full life, the love of both spirit and nature, only in the artist. But just because it does not take him seriously, because it regards him as an entertaining irrelevance. Wow. Holy schmoly. Let me read that again. We noted that our society tolerates the full life, the love of both spirit and nature, only in the artist, but just because it does not take him seriously, because it regards him as an entertaining irrelevance. That fucking blows, dude. Okay. The man of deep spiritual wisdom is also irrelevant to the society, whether entertaining or otherwise. This has not just recently come to be so, it has been so for centuries, because for centuries society has consisted precisely of those human beings who are so deluded by the conventions of words and ideas as to believe that there is a real choice between the great opposites of life, between pleasure and pain, good and evil, God and Lucifer, spirit and nature. But what is separable in terms and words is not separable in reality, in the solid relationship between the terms. Whoever sees that there is no ultimate choice between these opposites is irrelevant, because he cannot really participate in the politicians' and the ad man's illusion that there can be better and better without worse and worse, and that matter can yield indefinitely to the desires of mind without becoming utterly undesirable. It is not so much that there are fixed limits to our skill and technological power as that there are limits to our own perception, that we cannot see the figure without the background, the solid without the space, motion without time, action without resistance, joy without sorrow. We would have only to imagine what would happen if thought and spirit had their way without hindrance, with God's supposed omnipotence to have every wish granted instantaneously. Nothing would any longer be worth wishing for. There is an old fairy tale of a fisherman who once caught a marvelous golden fish. For the fish spoke, promising him that if he would return it to the water, he would be granted 3 wishes. Having released the fish, he went home to his wife to talk over what the wishes should be, on the assurance that the fish would be waiting for him at the same place the following day. The old lady sent him back with the request that their broken-down cottage be transformed into a mansion with servants and spacious lands. That night, the fisherman came home to find that all had happened as requested. But in the course of only a few days, the rapacious wife was hankering to be an archduchess with a vast palace equipped with guards and retainers, with terraces and formal gardens, situated in the midst of a great feudal domain. And again the wish was granted. Yet with one wish remaining, the wife's greed increased and increased, so that she made up her mind to wish for all that could be wished, to be the ruler of the sun and moon and stars, of the earth and mountains and oceans, of all the birds in the air, fishes in the sea, and of all men in the world. But when the fisherman repeated her desire to the golden fish, it replied, "Such a wish is not mine to grant, and for her arrogance she shall be returned to the state from which she started." Returning that night, the fisherman found once again the broken down cottage and his wife again in rags, and yet, in a way, her wish was granted. What does that mean? What that mean, dudes? Explain. How was her wish granted when she lost everything that she was granted? I mean, I guess the sun and the moon and the stars exist, and in a way, if you dwell with it and you exist in it, you are a ruler and the ruled at the same time. But I don't really know what Mr. Watts meant. I love nothing more than just to skip through philosophy books, because there is no way I can read a philosophy book cover to cover. But if you seek out just a line that jumps to you, sometimes it is a kernel of truth, a very tasty one, or a bitter one that you develop a taste for. Fred, what you doing, bud? As an old Zen poem says, if you do not get it from yourself, where will you go for it? Fundamentally, this is in a sense the position of the whole Zen Buddhist tradition. Strictly speaking, there are no Zen masters because Zen has nothing to teach. From the earliest times, those who have experienced Zen have always repulsed would-be disciples, not just to test their sincerity, but to give fair warning that the experience of awakening is not to be found by seeking, and is not in any case something that can be acquired or cultivated. But seekers have persistently refused to take this no for an answer, and to this the Zen sages have responded with a kind of judo. Realizing the uselessness of just telling the seeker that seeking will not find, they have replied with counter-questions, koan, which have the effect of exciting the effort of seeking until it explodes with its own force, so that the student realizes the folly of seeking for himself, not just verbally, but through to the very marrow of his bones. At this point, the student has Zen. He knows himself to be one with all, for he is no longer separating himself from the universe by seeking something from it. has often been said that the human being is a combination of angel and animal, a spirit imprisoned in flesh, a descent of divinity into materiality, charged with the duty of transforming the gross elements of the lower world into the image of God. Ordinarily, this has been taken to mean that the animal and fleshly aspect of man is to be changed out of all recognition. Religious ideals of both East and West have envisaged the transformed human animal as something which has surpassed almost every aspect of the material body except perhaps shape, projecting the perfected man as a humanoid form without sensitivity to pain or passion, shriveled and inert in sexuality, free from death and corruption, immune to disease, and even without weight or solidity. At least something of this kind appears to be the nature of the resurrected and spiritualized body in traditional Christianity, foreshadowed already in the miraculous lives of the saints. Something of the same kind seems in certain forms of Hinduism to be expected of the Jivan Mukta, sorry I don't know how to pronounce that, the fully accomplished yogi delivered from material limitations while still manifesting his existence in the world. It is possible that this is also the physical ideal of our own technological civilization, with its fixed intent of overcoming the limitations of time and space. Skeptical as we may be of achieving such material miracles by the power of prayer, meditation, and sanctity, we are perhaps some distance on the way to attaining them by medical and psychological techniques, bolstered by all the other powers of science. For we seem to look forward as ever to the total subjugation of hard and heavy substance to the airy rapidity of thought, and to the instant obedience of our weak and tender flesh to the bodiless flight of imagination. If science fiction is any anticipation of the general direction of science, if the scientists here disclose, perhaps under a pseudonym, his secret intentions and dreams, it is obvious that technological man will not be content with exploring the universe at the insufferable crawl of the speed of light. Fred is no longer interested. His machines must eventually respond to the infinitely faster speed of thought if we are ever to get much farther out in space than our solar system, not to mention our single little galaxy. Over against these spiritual and cerebral dreamers, there are and always have been unashamedly, oh my gosh, guys, unashamedly, that's a word? Earthbound souls who deplore this discontent with materiality. One thinks of the perennial pagan, the delightfully animal human, who is not ashamed of his body, the sort of person who, at least in his healthier moments, is the natural conservative, the person who wants to say yes to the physical world with all its limitations of time and mortality, space and distance, weight and solidity. I'm obviously going to lose viewers if Fred isn't here. When was this written or published? Come on, Fred. Oh my God, that took you so long. This was copyright 1958. Yo, chill. Oh my God. Girlfriend, chill it. Now I get to pet you because you look cute. How do I perceive death? You cannot have life without death. I know I will be afraid of it because the first time I ever had dysmenorrhea, which is a really painful period, and I didn't know what was happening, I was in extreme physical pain, and I remember rolling around on the bed in such turmoil that I could not even cry, and just seized with spasms and asking Aaron to call an ambulance for me. And I remember realizing how much of a coward I was, because I remember saying over and over again to Aaron, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And so, obviously, I don't think anybody wants to die. But I think we need to be able to accept death somehow. It is a painful process to die, but death itself is natural. And the more we try to push it away, the more pain we give ourselves. I hope for a peaceful death for everyone who is on this earth. It's not always possible. But I don't know how I perceive death because I have never died. I've come, I thought, close to it, but... What are you doing, Freddy? Oh, really? You're just gonna walk everywhere. Do you guys see that red chili? It turned from green to red. The container on the stovetop is Fred's treats. What a beautiful boy. Fred, did you enjoy your time alone? You're so cute, Freddy. A king among us all. For centuries, these two human types have been at war with each other, and one is constantly being pressed so as to avoid mere mediocrity, to commit oneself to one side or the other, since, quote, he who is not with us is against us, and whosoever does not gather with us scatters, unquote. We seem to like our human types to be black or white, and to despise the kind of person who cannot make up his mind between what seem to be absolutely demanding alternatives, but who vacillates indecisively, now to the ideals of spirit and now to the seductions of matter. I feel like this is what we do politically now too. It's like you're either left or right, you're either good or bad, you're either dumb or smart. It's just, and for what purpose? I don't know. Presumably, this is just what the average and ordinary human being does. Neither the angel in him nor the animal in him can be repressed, and the strength of the two is so evenly balanced that they tend to cancel one another out to produce the common or garden mugwump. That's a word? Who, as the saying goes, has his mug on one side of the fence and his wump on the other. What is wump, guys? I do not know this word, wump. In the presence of those who have thoroughly committed themselves, the average mugwump feels uncomfortable and vaguely guilty. Indecision is such an obvious and easily deplored weakness, such a sure butt for contempt by saint and Satanist alike. So the poor mugwump... Fred, what are you doing? So the poor mugwump simultaneously admires and is horrified by those who seem to have the strength of will to go one way or the other, those who decide to stand at all costs by the domineering and rational spirit, and those who abandon themselves with glee to the intense pleasure-pain of sensuality. Especially deplorable is the kind of person who might be called the extreme mugwump, the one who has his extremities very far out on both sides of the fence. There is, for example, the common scandal of the saint sinner, the individual who appears in public as the champion of the spirit, but who is in private some sort of rake. Very often, his case is not so simple as that of the mere hypocrite. He is genuinely attracted to both extremes. Not only does social convention compel him to publish one and suppress the other, but most often he is himself horribly torn between the two. He veers between moods of intense holiness and of outrageous licentiousness, suffering between times the most appalling pangs of conscience. The type is indeed especially common in clerical and academic circles, just because these vocations attract highly sensitive human beings who feel the lure of both extremes more strongly than others. Only in the artist is this duplicity more or less accepted, perhaps because beauty is the one attribute shared in common by God and the devil, because devotion to the beautiful, as distinct from the good and the true, seems to make one a human being who is not altogether serious, neither man nor devil, but some kind of elf, consigned in the day of judgment neither to heaven nor to hell, but to the limbo of souls without moral sense. Is anybody identifying with this? Are y'all bored? There's still 130 of you, so if y'all are bored, you're not bored enough to leave. But I'm definitely feeling some sort of identification with what he's saying here. I do feel like I suffer the pangs of those conscience sometimes. Like my very last Instagram post where I'm just like, here's me sitting in first class on a flight while talking about budget eats and, you know, equity in society and what am I doing here? And there was a relatively not insignificant cognitive dissonance, and I never feel comfortable in these places. Obviously, I didn't really make the choice to be in first class. It's more of Aaron's thing, but the fact that I'm participating in it makes me complicit in it, right? And so trying to find a sense of self in these different kinds of life situations makes me unsure of who I am. I feel lost in these moments. But maybe it is okay to be lost. Because we have created these concepts for ourselves to be polarities and binaries of good and evil, of rich and poor, of right and wrong. But they are just our creations. And we have created many wrong things with many inaccuracies. And we have boxed ourselves into identities that don't stay. They are not the truth. Word of the day is mugwump. Except Ellen Watts spells it with a U, M-U-G, W-U-M-P. I have never seen this word before. It's not wrong to enjoy services. I just don't feel like I belong there. I never grew up having the opportunity to enjoy these things, and so it feels wrong for anyone to ever serve me. It feels wrong to be served, and I don't know what to do with it. It feels like I don't belong, and maybe I'm not so much judged by others as I am feeling judged by myself. I feel intensely judged by myself when I find myself in these situations where I am being served, and I just feel it feels wrong to me, and it makes me very uncomfortable, and I want to get out of it. It's another reason why I really enjoy going out to casual eateries and eating cheap food where people give you bad service. It's not bad service, especially if you go to Chinese restaurants. They don't come around every 5 to 15 minutes asking you, how are you enjoying your food? They just let you eat, and I love that. Bye, Eileen. It is when I'm being served that it creates this like classist dichotomy in my brain, like, oh, I am being served. And that power dynamic makes me feel awful. And I feel like I have to like perform somebody that I'm not. Hi, Freddie. Yes, they are being paid for it, although we don't know how well, questionably so. I have heard of Beryl. I watch her videos. Am I serving you or am I just self-serving? These are the TED Talks. Welcome to my TED Talk. Every single video I make is a TED Talk. It's funny, Beryl actually DM'd me like months ago about potentially having me participate in one of her videos, but I don't think she ever got back to me. It was for her grocery store series, so maybe she's done with that. I don't know, we were both pretty busy, so it was not very, it never got settled, so maybe in the future, but for now, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Ooh. So this is where I got the Ellen Watts books. From the last bookstore in LA. So if you're in LA and you want to check out some used books from a very cool store, the store is very, very cool, guys. I'm not at all a bookstore person, but this bookstore was very cool. You should go and pay this place a visit. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I'm also serving them because I'm their customer, and that is their job. Instagram handle is thank 9 stars. The 9 is a number 9. Listen to Joan. Joan gets it. Yes. The point is simply that if there is to be any life and movement at all, the attitude of faith must be basic. The final and fundamental attitude and the attitude of doubt, secondary and subordinate. This is another way of saying that toward the vast and all-encompassing background of human life with which the philosopher as artist is concerned, there must be total affirmation and acceptance. Otherwise, there is no basis at all for caution and control with respect to details in the foreground. But it is all too easy to become so absorbed in these details that all sense of proportion is lost, and for man to make himself mad by trying to bring everything under his control. We become insane, unsound, and without foundation when we lose consciousness of and faith in the uncontrolled and ungraspable background world, which is ultimately what we ourselves are. And there is a very slight distinction, if any, between complete conscious faith and love. In other words, get over yourself. You ain't shit. But like, said with love. You know what I mean? Freddie, do you want one last treat before we go offline? One last treat for the Fred. One last treat for the Fred. Yes. 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 Did you enjoy? Your little feet on my cushy thigh. It feels right, my dude. It feels right. Don't ever leave me. I have missed a touch of Fred. Did you miss my perviness, Fred? He don't care. Fred is saying Mr. Alan Watts is right. Get over yourself. We chose Fred kind of for his appearance. He looked very different when we first saw him on the adoption listing. He had ringworm and his fur was very patchy and he looked really rough. And Aaron loved that look. Aaron actually said he prefers that Fred over this Fred. He says we got catfished because this Fred looks like a very different Freddo. Next week we got to talk about the escalating culture war in China. What's the culture war in China? But I saw Fred and I was like, this is the cat. He's old. Potentially quiet, although as we found out, he is not quiet in the morning. You are not quiet in the morning, starting at 4 a.m., going all the way until 7 a.m. Meow, 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 jump, 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 pat, pat, zoom. Freddy. They're kicking out all the language teachers, limiting gaming. Oh, that's been going on for years. Aaron and I, as you know, met in a teaching program in China, and that program, I believe, has been ended to just basically kick out all the foreign influences because all of those programs were bringing in foreigners as the teachers. So China has been trying to limit outside influences. I mean, I feel like since the beginning of time, but they've definitely been ramping it up in recent years. I'm not surprised. Outside information is dangerous to have. It is power. It is a counter narrative to the authoritative narrative. By the way, do you guys give tip when you order, say, an ice cream cone and it's not really table service? Do you still add tip on to those interactions? Very curious. Yes, Fred? Do you hear those meows? Do you hear those meows? Hey, Freddy. I feel like sometimes I tip and sometimes I don't. Because I feel like if they're just ringing me up, that's just like buying something from the supermarket. But am I doing the wrong thing? Yeah, right. Okay, glad to know I'm not alone. I feel like an asshole sometimes when like, especially when it's like a Square payment system on their tablet and that screen always pops up and it's like, how much would you like to tip? And I'm just like, I feel like an asshole clicking on the no tip. But I'm just like, do I tip everything? Yeah, exactly. Choosing zero feels very wrong. But like, yeah, delivery, definitely tip. Table service, definitely tip. Ice cream scoopers, I sometimes tip. But like, if it's just buying a coffee, do I tip? Do you tip your baristas? I never buy a coffee. But if I buy a pastry from a coffee shop, I don't think I'm gonna tip. They're just grabbing the pastry from the case, right?
You're writing this all down, right?
Ice cream is usually like $6 to $8 depending on what we order. Yeah, sometimes the machine automatically already has the like 10% tip selected too. makes me really guilty to like switch it from the default option. Gotcha. Tip your baristas. Yeah, so I guess if the person is making something fresh for you when you order it, tip. Like, they're scooping the ice cream. That's a service, so tip. They're making the coffee. That's a service. Tip. But grabbing a pastry from the case, no tip? Is that acceptable? I mean, if it's less than $1, why tip? Because sometimes the payment system builds a tip in. So, yeah.
Can we use something?
No, I don't think, I've never tipped at KFC. I don't think I tip at fast food restaurants, no. Tip sharing varies from place to place. The first place I ever worked in terms of the food industry, it was pooled tip, and it was shared not only with front of house but also back of house. Like I was working at a sandwich shop called Court Street Grocers. We pooled all the tip and we divided it equally among everyone during that shift, back and front of house. So sandwich makers and the register cashiers. Gosh, losing my words. But when I worked at fancier restaurants as back of house, I never got tipped. All the tips went front of house, and I don't know how they divided that tip up. I believe it was pooled at some and not pooled at others. But it really sucks working back of house. You never really get tips, especially if it's a fancier restaurant. It's apparently the fast casual restaurants that really do pool tips and share tips. So, no, tips did not supplement my income. Like at the sandwich shop, I started making $10 an hour. I think I got 2 raises in 3 months, which was really good. I left because I didn't really like my supervisor at the time. The owners were fantastic people, supervisor not so much, but I left in about 3 or 4 months, and I made my way up to $12 an hour, which was really good at that point. And I can't honestly tell you how much tip I got every shift, but I feel like it was like, I don't know, maybe anywhere from $7 to $20, depending on the shift. I worked a really early morning shift, so it was like 7 to 3 p.m., 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that. And it really depends on whether or not it was a slow or fast day. So, I feel like I, on average, got anywhere from like 30 to 40 a week on tips. So it's not really something that you can live off of. But again, that was a fast casual place. People kind of just tipped whatever, like maybe $1 here, some change there. It's probably different when you tip in a restaurant because the acceptable and expected tip percentage is 20%, although some people are not so good about that. But when I moved on to working back of house restaurants as a cook, I never got tipped. So,
They can be the most dynamic favor in the world. Install it.
Freddie? Hi, babe.
You don't have to do it today. If you do it now, that would be super awesome. But just have to finish this.
how do you feel Asians are treated in the U.S.? Racism, it seems. It just varies, guys. Varies where you're at. Varies on the day. Varies on whether or not you're lucky or bad lucky. Racism is everywhere. It can be silent racism or it can be overt violent racism.
Nice.
But
There, Jason. Nice
it's everywhere.
boots. You got a nice jacket.
I think Fred did fine with the auto feeder. He's still alive.
How much real life money do you make all that? Yeah.
Yo, I think I'm gonna sign off. Probably go shower, maybe have a few more snacks, and then call it a night. And then tomorrow I wake up, clean the house, do a shit ton of laundry with Aaron maybe, and catch up on some work. But hope to have more content for you soon, as always. Churning out the content. Shooting and editing my own stuff is really enjoyable, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So it just depends on how much free time I have to work on it, because it does take a very long time to edit and sort through the footage, and there is a lot of footage. So thanks for being patient, but just know that it will come to you sometime. Yeah? Yeah, I'm thankful that you guys are watching that week-long food diary. A lot of people have DM'd me about how much they related to it, which always makes me happy to hear. I love making really relatable content, but most of all, it helps me to put it out there so that I don't cling on to it as a private source of shame. If I can make it a public source of shame, then it no longer has that hold over me. So in a way, you are doing me a favor by watching it and letting me know that you appreciate it. So thank you so much as well. I scratch your back, you scratch mine, right, Freddie? Yeah, buddy. You're beautiful. You're so beautiful.